Hello, everybody. This is Derek. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, got you, Derek.
Okay, great. All right, we're ready to get started, so I'm going to hand over the phone to Coach to review Wednesday night, and then we'll take your questions about this weekend. Here's Coach.
Obviously we're excited to get back out there. That's the one thing about this time of year is you have a game every couple days. It gives us a chance to learn, and we're playing against so many different types of styles that it gives us a chance to get better moving forward. I thought for the first 35 minutes on Wednesday night, I thought that's as good as we've played to this juncture. I didn't think the quality of our possessions late in the game was good enough offensively. We've got to be better there than what we were. I thought that it was a good step in the right direction, though, from a competitiveness standpoint. We had some young guys out there, playing their first college road game. I liked the way they handled that. I thought that was good. Thought we had some grit and a little toughness as a carryover from the second half of North Dakota State, which I thought was great. Just trying to get better at a few things here the next day or two. Yesterday through film more than anything, trying to get our guys physically ready with their bodies. Obviously, we've been doing a lot of travel. So taking that into consideration as well. And today we'll practice and, obviously get ready to play a really good UT Chattanooga team who has already won at Georgia. Once again, very much like the first weekend with those two teams that we played, we kind of knew when we scheduled them, we were scheduling a veteran team, a team that's predicted to win their league, a team that's very athletic. They shoot the ball well. From multiple positions. They rebound the ball well. It will be very similar to the opening weekend from a challenge standpoint. They're very good. So we'll have our work cut out for us. Again, another team that's older. So that always presents a challenge. Obviously they full court press for 40 minutes. At least they've done that through the first two games. As well as their exhibition. So we've got to be ready for that. I think taking care of the ball is obviously important. And, that really, something that certainly will, emphasize no different than we did when we played Providence on Wednesday night. Questions?
Hey, John, Mark Tupper. What should we have learned, or maybe more importantly, what should Mike Thorne have learned about some of the frustrations he encountered the other night as he starts to get more defensive attention?
Well, I think just that, Tup, that he can't get frustrated. We got him more touches in the first 4 or 5 minutes than what I originally thought during the game as it was playing out. I think the thing that hampered him the most was foul trouble. That hampered his effectiveness more than anything else in terms of his impact on the game. He had a couple fouls that he's got to stay away from. The one over the back on the free throw, he had no chance to get that rebound. He's got 3 fouls. He's got to be smarter than that and not try to over a guy's back, to initiate the 4th foul there. And that puts him on the bench again. And then, he missed the one layup he'd like to have back there with about 5 that could have put us up 5. And then he jogs back, I think, a little bit frustrated with the fouls. And, he normally makes that shot and got back late and wasn't in position and got his 5th foul. So I think just the mental part, being able to get to the next play that's in front of you. I think that's probably the most important part of his growth and development in terms of what he, needs to learn from Wednesday.
Thank you.
John, this is Steve Kelly. Would you talk a little bit about Michael Finke and the game he had at Providence?
Yeah, I thought he did some good things. I thought he rebounded well. I thought he had a physical presence about him. I thought he was really good against the zone. Thought he passed it well and did a lot of good things for us. Rebounding defensively. I thought he was in position a lot, in the right spot, which was good. And then offensively, we all know he has, guard skills for a guy 6'10", and I thought that he was. Really good and was able to get into a little bit of a flow there, certainly in the second half. But something to build on for sure. I was encouraged by the way he played and his mentality for his first college road game.
And John, Lou Henson gets inducted into the National Collegiate Basketball Hall of Fame tonight. And Kansas City. Any thoughts on that and thoughts on what Lou has meant to you and your program?
Well, as I've said before, I mean, it's well-deserved. I'm excited for both him and Mary. When you do what we do and the amount of sacrifice that families make, and our wives in particular, believe me, he's getting inducted tonight, but she is too. So that's the first thing I would, share with you. Obviously, I've always said that I think he's as good a coach as he was. I think he's an even better person. I've just enjoyed the relationship we've had with both him and Mary. I know he cares a great deal about Illinois. That for sure stands out when you talk to him. And he's been a guy that's been very supportive of me, and he's been there for me, regardless of whether you win a game or lose a game. Or he's been very consistent with that. He gets it, and I appreciate obviously that, and then what they do for the community. I think they're very involved in our community. They give back, and which I think is really important to do that, to have a chance to pay forward in so many different ways that he and Mary do that here in Champaign-Urbana. So, those are kind of my thoughts on him collectively. But, most importantly, well-deserved, and just a great honor for him, for Illinois, and for our basketball program, and for Mary.
Thanks.
Hey, John, it's Marcus. You mentioned Chattanooga, the full court pressure most of the game. I think taking care of the ball was an issue for you guys early in the game the other night. Is there anything you can do in preparation for that to clean those things up?
Yeah, you can try to simulate it some, and we'll do that. The other night it was interesting because we had 9 turnovers at the half. We had 2 illegal screens. We had Mike Thorne hooking a guy in the post, which he did. We had Khalid Lewis pushing off when he really didn't need to push off on one of their defenders, just on a live dribble. So we had some, 4 of them were really weird ones. Wasn't like you're just throwing the ball to them. So that when I watched the film stood out as well. Of the 13, only 7 of them were live ball. So we've got to clean up and be a little bit more disciplined. There's no need for us to hook. There's no need for us to push the guy off there. We've got to wait on screens. Just some little things like that really don't have to do with necessarily being sloppy with the ball from a passing or decision-making standpoint. It's more just execution of some little things that, prevent you from losing a possession. So we talked about that with our guys, and we showed them that on the film.
And then it kind of related to that, where were you guys at with Jalen Tate at this point?
Well, he's still day-to-day at this point. Obviously we're going to try to buddy tape his fingers at some point here. How his fingers respond, how that responds is really up to him and Paul and our doctor. I'm going to trust those guys' judgment, as I always do. I know he mentally certainly wants to be out there, and I know our trainers and doctors want him to be out there if he's healthy and it's feasible. But a lot of that's just going to depend on how the finger feels, how it feels. Are they able to buddy tape it? It's going to happen sooner than later. I just don't know right now. It's day to day, and yesterday he had a pretty good day, and what's it going to feel like today? I don't know. So it's really a day to day thing with him.
Thanks, John.
Coach, this is Derek. Could you talk about the challenge of guarding Casey Jones, who's the Southern Conference Preseason Player of the Year?
Yeah, he's a terrific player. They've got shooters around him and drivers and length and athleticism and age, and they're really, really, really good. So, it'll be a challenge for sure, and he's a challenge because, he really, really puts the ball on the floor. He's very explosive. He's great on the offensive glass, and I can just tell from watching how competitive he is. You can tell he loves to compete, that they love challenges and big moments. Obviously, they went right into Georgia and won, so – they're older. They've kind of been there, done that. They're very connected. And that's what happens when you play older teams. Much like the teams we did on opening weekend, those teams were very, very old. And they played together for a long time and had a lot of reps together. He'll be a challenge. Their team will be a challenge, that's for sure.
John, regarding Malcolm, you've documented how he's been willing to do anything you've asked and has done about everything you can think of. How, as you get healthier, how much will it benefit Malcolm, instead of being kind of a jack of all trades, to be maybe a master of one or two, and maybe a little less?
It'll help him tremendously. I mean, there's no question. It'll make his job a little bit easier, not from the standpoint that, hey, this is easy. What we do is hard. But what it'll allow him to do is we'll be able to give him, 2, 3 things, 4 at most, that we really wanted to focus on. Right now he's kind of outside that box that I'd like for him to be within in order for him to free his mind. But it is what it is right now. He knows that. I know that. And, sometimes I can't remember which Roosevelt it was, but desperate times deserve desperate measures from the standpoint of roster. When I say that, I mean that quote. It is what it is. I mean, we've got, some limitations right now with the roster. It is what it is, and he's a kid that's willing to do whatever, we ask him to do to help us win basketball games, to compete, to play well, to game plan, to strategize. And, could he have done that as a freshman? Probably not, but he's a lot older. He's a lot more mature. And, he's playing the game for the right reasons. So his mindset allows him to do it. But I do think long-term, Tup, he'll be, much more efficient and much more freer of mind, once we kind of move along here and maybe get some guys back.
Anything else for Coach?
Rob here. Can you tell us what happened to DJ Williams?
Can you repeat that, Rob? You were chopping up there.
Wondering what became of DJ Williams.
In terms of?
Didn't see him play last night.
Yeah, we obviously made the decision to play a certain rotation based on what the game, required and dictated. And, obviously he's a really good player, and we all know that. He's a huge part of not only this season but us moving forward. But that was a one-game deal where we made the decision that we felt like, hey, based on a lot of the zone and that was being played, and based on how the game was going, we played the guys that we thought were the right guys to play in those situations in that game on Wednesday night. Where does that lead for him moving forward? We'll see. Obviously, it's day to day, and I'm encouraged. I do think he's improving and getting better, but he just got to stay the course, and I'm confident that he will.
Got it.
Okay, thanks everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.